What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You dead meat!
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
All right, so we're here with Mercedes Bryce Morgan, the director of Bone Lake, which I know a lot of people have seen the advertisements for.
I always have to keep myself from adding and from not adding the lake that makes you bone. That's not part of the title.
That has become
we
a
just
runner
keep adding that
on our channel because we had Old, which was the beach that makes you old. So now Bone Lake is the lake that makes you bone. And it certainly does seem to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know what? We should just call it Boner Lake because people out there are already calling it that. So
Boner Lake, that's good.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely making the rounds. It seemed to me from the trailers when we saw it, it felt like, obviously comparisons to Barbarian with the premise of a double booked Airbnb. In this case, it's two couples as opposed to two individuals. And while watching it, it also made me think of the American Speak No Evil. It kind of had that kind of vibe going to it. But yeah, we got to see it a little early, and we both really enjoyed it.
No, I'm so happy to be here to talk to you guys about it. And people have called it Barbarian's horny or sibling because it kind of starts off similar and then it goes in this wild direction. And people have also kind of compared it to almost a European drama in the beginning.
Yes.
And so I think definitely Speak No Evil was definitely something I watched before going into this going, okay, can we take the best of this, of how we see these couples and things unfold, but then do our own thing with it?
Yeah, and like we were saying before we started recording, we watched your previous film just last night, A Spoonful of Sugar. It was a rewatch for me, and that is similarly pretty horny. So
Yes.
I was surprised to find, though, that you didn't write either scripts. So I guess my question is, how do you find these scripts? How do you choose them? And I'm assuming you choose them with a purpose since I see a lot of similarities between these two features.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for sex to come back into movies more. I feel like we had a golden era of it, and I feel like this is what I've always wanted to do, but then it's just kind of been able to come back recently, and people go, oh, people are here for it, and they're ready. And so with Spoonful of Sugar, it was actually something, both of these projects were something that my rep sent me thinking, you know what, Mercedes is kooky and weird and isn't afraid of a movie that's very erotic. And so I think it kind of found itself to me in that way, people knowing who I am. And that's kind of how I fell in love with both projects.
Yeah, I love that they're both, they're both off the beaten path. They're both very unique films. And what I love about both of them is that they're entertaining the whole way through. Like, I'm never once bored or disinterested or waiting for something to happen. They keep me engaged the entire runtime, and I think that's one of the best things a movie can do.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I have this fear of boredom for my viewers, and so we'll do all these test screenings. We go, okay, is this part not hitting for people? Shouldn't be in the movie. And so it's something that we think about a lot going into it. So it's awesome to hear that always.
It's fun. I think you said, you described Bone Lake as, what was it, Barbarian's, horny European cousin. And that was something where someone asked me, to describe, what's the vibe of Bone Lake? Because we gotten to see it so early. And I was like, I can't quite put my finger on it, but European. I don't know why. And I felt that way about Spoonful of Sugar, too. What is that? I can't really explain that, but maybe you can.
Yeah, okay, I have a theory. I don't know if it's right, but I feel like it's maybe because European movies dare to do things American movies wouldn't sometimes. And, there's a lot of meetings I've gone on where people go, oh, that's shocking. And they say it as though it's a bad thing. And I kind of look at that as a good thing.
Yeah.
So if I were to guess, maybe that's what people are picking up on.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a frankness with regards to how sex is portrayed. Spoonful of Sugar made me think a little bit of Dogtooth, Yorgos Lanthimos' movie, where it's just this weird, creepy dollhouse of, messed up sexual relationships that you're just kind of sitting there witnessing. But yeah, there's this way that sex is portrayed in European movies that we don't really get in American movies. There's definitely a prudeness, and I wonder if maybe some of that reluctance is, and maybe it's it's a fair reluctance. Is I think there's maybe a concern by some people with how actors are treated on set. What is that experience like for you as a director, directing actors to do all kinds of stuff that, I'm sure must feel in the moment kind of embarrassing or strange?
I think that it's embarrassing and strange if you treat it that way, and it's not if you don't. So
Sure.
I think that if someone approaches directing a sex scene and they're like, oh no, here's this thing that we're doing and it's weird, then everyone's going to pick up on that and feel like they're doing something weird and bad. But I myself am a very sex positive person, and so we treat it the same way I would treat a dance scene or the same way I would treat a fight scene. And I think the same with these movies is anyone who's not down for a sexy movie is not the audience for this movie and shouldn't be watching it. And same with the actors that we hire on. If someone's not down for that, amazing. They shouldn't be doing that type of movie. And we go through so many contracts and so many discussions before doing it. And even on the day, if someone says they're not comfortable with something, we're not going to shoot it that way. Like it's not worth a person going home and going, my God, I can't believe I made that decision, because it's not worth it for a movie.
Right.
So Bone Lake premiered about a year ago at Toronto, right?
It premiered at Fantastic Fest.
Oh,
My
Fantastic
first
Fest, right.
Okay,
Yes.
Yes.
It didn't get picked up for distribution until May. So what was that period of time like? Was that just shopping around or fielding offers?
Yeah, we wanted to find the right partners for it. And it was really important to us to get theatrical distribution. And so it was kind of talking to different people. And then we teamed up with Bleecker Street and we realized, yes, this is the match for us. And I think it's important to wait until it feels right to give it what it deserves.
Yeah. And on that note, when you're making these films, obviously you're just going for it. I can see the vision and I can see that you're not really holding back. But is there any part of you that goes to film something and is like, and I gotta think a little bit about the commerciality of this movie, how well it can sell or play in theaters. Maybe I should, hold back or make this a little bit more palatable to a general audience. Is there any of that going on in your head? Does it ever come up and you just tamp it down?
No, I would say that Spoonful of Sugar is more in the artsy side. And then I would say that Bone Lake is mainstream. And I think what's different about that is I think that sex is more mainstream now where we are in 2025. And so I don't really have a fear of that, because when I was first starting out in the film industry, I was told, take sex out of your lookbooks. Like, we can't put it in. And then I was told, put it in. That's what people are looking for. And so I actually don't have that fear, because I've kind of noticed that's not really seeming to be the culture that we're in anymore, which has been awesome.
Yeah, it's curious because I can see what you mean on one hand with a certain audience, but it's almost as though there is a bifurcation, because there are some vocal opponents of sex in film nowadays who are uncomfortable with it. But I do think that, in the past few years, the opposing side that does want to see more of that has been more comfortable speaking out and saying, no, let's bring that stuff back.
Exactly. Like, the audience that it's for is here for it, and that's who we're targeting. So it works out well for us.
Yeah, and that's always what appeals to me most in art, is the stuff that doesn't try to appeal to everyone, because then it just gets muddled down. It's stuff that's made for a specific audience and does it well. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how I feel too. And we wanted to make a popcorn, fun movie where you care about the characters, but it's like this movie, it's been so awesome to go to all these different film festivals and see the people in theaters have what I love when I go to a cult movie, where people are very vocal and going, oh my God, that didn't happen. And that's the kind of movies I love. And so that's what I wanted to give to other people. And so I'm so excited for people to have that experience.
Yeah, we definitely had that. We watched it at home because we had a screener, but we definitely had that moment just to ourselves. Or there's just several moments of like, oh God, where it's so awkward, or like a character's doing something where it's like, oh my God, why? Where
like, don't do that. No.
Yes. Characters just digging themselves into like a hole where it's so awkward and uncomfortable, where it's just, it's like, it's so relatable to a certain point, where I think that's where the comparisons to Speak No Evil come in, where it's just like okay, where are you going to say something when the situation gets so awkward and weird?
Yeah. How long will you go through this and subject yourself to this?
Yes.
Why? Like, what is the reason why you stay? And you go, I kind of relate to that. Like, I might do that in the same situation, but then you want to kick yourself for it.
Yes.
Yeah, and both movies had us going like, what the fuck is even gonna happen? Like, and I love it when a movie has that. I think because both have just just a bunch of messed up people in them. And so you're never sure exactly what they're going to do, because a lot of people like to watch movies and be like, oh, why aren't they taking the most rational route here? And it's because people aren't rational. And so it's fun to watch irrational people mess up and do dumb things.
Exactly. If people are rational, we wouldn't have as much conflict that we have in the world. I love watching people get fucked up, or fucked up people doing things to other people and them having to navigate themselves through that. I go, yes, tell me more, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like the casts that you have for both films are fully on board, fully understand the tone. So when you're casting these movies, what are you looking for? What conversations are you having with the actors to make sure that they're the right fit for the parts?
Yeah, for sure. So on Bone Lake, all of our cast mostly was people that either myself or the producers had worked with before. And I think that going into a movie like this, it takes a lot of trust. Or like, for example, with Spoonful of Sugar, Maiko, who plays the dad, he told me when I cast him, he said, Mercedes, if I just got sent the script, I don't know if I'd say yes to it, but because I know you and we've worked together before and I trust you, I know that you're not going to put me in a bad situation. And so I think that's a lot of it coming into it. But especially for Bone Lake 2, the approach that we took with it, which is kind of different from Spoonful, and they both kind of work in their own ways, is I wanted to have grounded protagonists because what they get themselves into is so absurd. I wanted to have their relationship feel really real. And so I was looking for who are actors where everything they do feels real, because then we can have things go wrong and still feel with what they're dealing with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're all very disarming. Especially, you know, the one couple. It's like, I just want to, I want to hang out with them. Like, they seem so friendly and they're so cute. And I'm like, yeah, totally. They're very appealing people. They're perfectly cast. Were there other, movies or other, I would love to know what your other kind of inspirations were while you're working on something like this, either stylistically or tone-wise.
Yeah, so, I mean, I watched a lot of stuff going to this, but the ones that come to my mind at first is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf for couple dynamics.
Yes.
Yes. I was like,
that's
how
fascinating.
do you block 4 people in a house, and how do they push each other's buttons and pick, kind of couple swap in a way mentally?
That's because you've got in that play, you've got the one couple that's like, if I'm remembering, it's been a little bit, you've got the one couple that's like a bit older and they're like falling apart. And then you've got this younger couple. And it's like the way that those two couples like push each other's buttons. Yes.
And who's more naive at what point and why people are doing certain things. Or the one I love was another big one to look at. And then also just for shot design, things like Evil Dead 2, I think is one of the best shot design movies of all time. So things like that are Clockwork Orange, because even though, we're an indie shoot and we're shooting in a short amount of time, I wanted to shoot certain moments differently. In a very creative way instead of just doing basic coverage.
Yeah, and that is definitely one of those things that makes the movie so watchable, because it's not just, standard boring shot, reverse shot. The camera moves in such an interesting way. Bone Lake especially looks incredible, and I saw that your DP was the same guy who shot Saw 10, which is also an incredible looking film.
Yeah, no, he is amazing. We have been through literal storms together and just the craziest experiences. I feel like we've been through all the elements, and even just the crew that he brings on too. For example, our Steadicam op, we were having real rain on top of our fake rain, and it was 3 a.m. in the morning, and we did a shot where we're like running through the woods, our character's screaming bloody murder, and I call cut, and he leans over and he pukes, and I go, oh my God, are you okay? And he goes, I'm good, do you want another one?
Oh my God.
I go, man, you can take a second, but it's people that you really love putting their all into something, as I think it kind of, you can tell, because no one's phoning it in.
Yeah, below the line talent is built differently, I swear. They just give their everything to these productions, and not for the fame of it all, obviously.
Well, there's a reason. It's so funny, working on different shoots, you'll often see Steadicam ops or gaffers and stuff. They all have these setups or vests, or they have patches and badges. It's because they all go through war together, and
totally.
it starts to become
a little trauma bonding sometimes.
Yes, it is. It's such a trauma bond for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because not everyone out there, it's like pulling all-nighters for a month. I've had productions where you don't even see the light of day for a month, and you go, who am I and what's going on? It's an intense experience.
Yeah, that has a physical effect on your body, circadian rhythms and everything. Like, that'll affect you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this, obviously, is an independent film. It seems kind of like a perfect script for an indie film. You got a pretty small cast to manage and basically just one location. Where was this incredible house that Bone Lake takes place in?
So it was in Atlanta, Georgia. And so, the tax incentives at the time were the best, because we're like, this is our spot. But we looked at all these different houses because, there's so many different types of classic horror houses where this could be set in a cabin, or this could be set in an ultra modern place. And we kind of chose this place because we thought, what is somewhere that someone would think is really quote unquote aspirational, but then also you kind of go and you realize that there's rooms that have things that you didn't know were in them as it kind of unfolds.
Yeah, it's a beautiful home. We're watching it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say somewhere in Europe. I mean, maybe that's the, the tone of it, but even just, it looks very like Italian lake house to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such especially like this weird, like, is the hallway with like the three doors? I was gonna say has to be a set. That's so
That's
specific.
a set that we built into our house.
Okay.
That would have been amazing if we found a house with like these perfect 3 doors, but we're like, no, we need to create this because this doesn't exist.
Yes, yeah, it's very. Did you see Heretic?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say, it's like Hugh Grant's just like, oh, this house is perfect. It's got these 3 little mystery doors. Yeah.
No, exactly. Well, we just found this house out there and it fits that perfectly. Yes.
Yes, I can construct my riddles in here. It's perfect.
Yes.
You said you built that set in the actual house? Or?
Yeah. So like in the actual house, there's just this like doorway that basically leads out to the garage and like a back room that had storage in it. And then we built our doors into it and built all of these crazy spaces into it. So shout out to our production designer, Kendra Bradanini. But yeah, and also the house that we were shooting in was just full of this woman who owned it, had probably about like 30 years worth of things piled up into it that we had to like move and redo her entire house.
Oh,
and I
wow.
bet that experience was very stressful for her.
I bet, yeah.
You can't tell when you watch the movie. Yeah.
But it was all shot on that location then, actually? You weren't like going back to a studio in Atlanta, or?
I mean, so on our last day of shooting, we had a storm that shut us down. So because when we were shooting, there's a certain scene in the movie that happens on a lake when there's lots of rain going on. Mm-hmm. And when we were shooting that, we got overtaken by a real storm, and like our stunt person fell down and broke a finger, and then a whole $20,000 lens went in, like, we're like, shut it down.
Oh my God.
Like there was like a foot of water up to our legs, and we're like, we can't move. And so that was moved to a soundstage on LA that looks just like a boat.
Okay, that's fair.
So mostly there, but yeah.
I love the costuming too, and I'm realizing, it just occurred to me now, there's a costume towards the end. Is there an intentional callback to Spoonful of Sugar, or is it a total coincidence?
Oh, yeah.
There's like a through line I'm realizing, where there's like a kind of tulle skirt kind of through line, this very little girl kind of feel to one of the characters.
Totally. It's that, but it's also just my taste looping through all these different movies. So I'm like, this is the perfect thing to wear in this situation.
Yes.
A tulle ballerina type skirt.
Yes.
But I think that combining things like that with these horrifying moments gives them like a weird childish air to them.
Yes.
Yeah, and I have always been most disturbed by acts of violence that are done in a cheerful way. Like you said, Clockwork Orange, classic example. Singing in the Rain.
Yeah. And I think, like, especially, in the movie, they have to be aged up a little bit. In the book, they're like kids.
Oh, yeah, in Clockwork Orange, yeah.
yeah. So it's, there's something like particularly horrifying.
When you watch something like Kids, the movie, you're like, oh my God,
yes.
this is so intense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How long of a shoot was it? Because you said it was a pretty short shoot, right?
Yeah, it was a crazy short shoot. So we shot this in 18 days, and then we shot the days on the stage after we got shut down. But it was basically, the way that I described the speed of the shoot is we would have 2 cameras going inside. I would be doing an intense dialogue scene, and then we'd have a 3rd camera set outside like getting ready to shoot this bloody, set piece. And so I go cut and then run outside to where it's ready and go, okay, go. And blood goes up and I go, okay, got it. I run back in the house and it was literally like not running because that's unsafe on set, but like it felt like speeding the entire time. But it's amazing because everyone, the greatest compliment we get is, it doesn't look like you shot it like that. I'm like, yeah, it's because it took a fuck ton of planning.
Yeah, it's so interesting to shoot what at first starts as such like a lackadaisical kind of lake house weekend. Like the idea that that's such like a fast-paced shoot is so interesting to me because you can't tell at all.
Everyone's chilling and laying out, and really we're like, okay, go, everyone move outside. Yeah.
Gotta make our days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm wondering when the reveal happens. I mean, it's pretty obvious in Bone Lake that even from the trailers that something is amiss. And when the reveal happens, did you give your actors any specific directions or comparisons on performances or characters to draw from for their own performances?
Yeah, so definitely. So like Alex Rowe and Andra Nachita, who plays part of our couple, they brought in, not to give anything away, but they brought in some stuff that was very much so them trying out things and experimenting. And I kind of like to provide a place for people to go for it. And if something's too much, we go, oh, okay, no. But if we go, oh, that was good a lot, then that's really exciting. And then as for performances that are grounded, I like to not reference other movies because I feel like when an actor is bringing something, it should be from their life experience and how they think they would act there. And if they're trying to imitate something, it usually comes off as acting instead of them experiencing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Like putting on a character versus, genuinely living in whatever this experience is.
Because then at that point, we're just referencing movies again and again, right?
Yes,
if someone's like in a relationship, it's like, how do you move with your partner? What are the silly and dumb things you do? It's kind of nice to think of that for yourself,
right?
Instead of, oh, what have I seen this person do in this movie?
You mentioned test screenings and kind of tailoring to make sure that's not boring. So were there any significant cuts to Bone Lake that you found didn't work for test audiences?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that came even before that where there's stuff we thought we needed and then we got in the edit and we're like, oh, we don't necessarily need that. Like, that's not important for the story. And then a lot of it is just, it's tightening. So it's finding out, okay, where do people want to get to stuff faster or not? Or even our opening scene of the movie, which is a pretty wild one. To give context, it's a completely naked couple running away while they're chased with bow and arrows in the woods. That wasn't there originally, and we realized that we kind of needed to set the horror up for people up front so they know that we're going to deliver what we're promising to deliver in the back half. And so that's something we discovered because there's an alternative scene out there that exists that's very different and it's more sensual and is sexy. And we want the horror route up front so that we can go into that and then come back to it.
Yeah, I have found that to be so often the case with these kind of more slow burn horror movies that it really helps them to put an initial scene up front just to remind the audience that, yes, what you're going to see is a horror movie, even if it takes a while to get there. Even something like Get Out has that initial scene where the guy gets kidnapped from the suburb. And I just found that like it's very crucial to make sure that your audience has their expectations set. And with your film, especially with them being naked running through the woods, it's like, oh yeah, and also this thing's going to be horny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're like, we promise, trust us, we're going to do this.
Yes.
Because what I don't, horror movies that I don't find myself loving is because they make you wait so long and then you get to the end and there's not a payoff or you go, damn it. So it's promise, there's a payoff, but it's good. And
there's certainly a payoff. Like I won't say where this movie goes, but it's not where either of us thought it was going. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Like we had some expectations and then some of those were met, others were subverted, and then near the end it's like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So, because I also think, the Speak No Evil, there's, with certain plot twists, it's a who, what, when, where, why. So if you know the who, I'm like, okay, that's not what we're trying to cover up. Like, you might know the who, but what is really enticing to find out is the why and how, and like, that's the plot twist that's juicy.
Yes.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite horror movies that you've seen recently? Maybe some that you've seen since making this and being able to put this to rest, and now you're no longer worried about what might subconsciously influence you? What can you just enjoy on your own?
Oh my God. I mean, I could list like 100, but just to list a couple recent ones, I love Revenge. I love The Substance. Weapons was amazing recently. I love Together recently. I've loved all the Ari Aster movies. And then like for old horror movies, The Ring is amazing. Freaks is amazing. Clockwork Orange. Like my ideal day is I wake up and I watch a horror movie when I eat breakfast, and then I do some work and then come back and like finish it during lunch and dinner. So
Yeah, oh, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, I can relate for sure.
yeah.
And yeah, it makes sense that you'd be a fan of Coralie Farja, who is
Yes.
also willing to bring that kind of sensuality back to the films, even
Yes.
while keeping the horror intact.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, great. Thank you so much. It was so lovely to talk to you. I'm so glad that we finally got to meet the woman behind these weird-ass,
Yes.
messed up movies.
I think
Thank
it's
you
so.
for appreciating
Yes.
weird movies.
I just think it's so exciting that horror right now is this space where like women are getting to make such like fucked up movies. It's so cool. Like yeah, like Coralie Farja, and then oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name, but Saint Maud.
Oh, yes.
Like, you know, it's just so cool that like this space, it's like women are really making some of the freakiest shit out there, and it makes me so proud. Love to see it.
I'm happy to be in the place and time where my job consists of a masturbation scene and like blood rain outside,
Yes.
or like, you know, sex in the yard, and then you realize the kid's watching, and that's terrifying. I'm just like, I love being at this point in time. This is great.
It's amazing.
Well, thank you for doing it, and I hope you continue to.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.